led in prayer. Bring you lead us in prayer, and then please remain standing after that for the pledge. And Alderman Payne, will you lead us in that?
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, Lord, and thank you for this opportunity to meet. We ask for wisdom and discernment in matters of the city and society tonight. We ask for your blessed protection of the city and the citizens for the next season, especially those who are traveling. Precious is that prayer. Precious is
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first on the agenda this evening is approval of the November 17, 2020 minutes.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the minutes of the regular meeting of November 17th, 2020, with the initial installation or corrections.
Second. We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Brooks. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Hoops.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a resolution to create an ordinance for the first leisure and recreation district in the city. As I've mentioned to all of you guys at a previous meeting, basically what this is a district, state law allowed this 2 years ago, changed the law allowing cities to have an area that's designed for entertainment. The main issue with this is that in a specified district, it will allow a patron to leave a restaurant with a container of alcohol. And in this resolution, it does specify the quantity, how it would be contained, that kind of thing. It's all in the resolution. Along with, so what we'd be doing tonight, it's my recommendation that we approve it. What would happen at this point, it still doesn't make it final yet. What it does is prepares that, and then when the first establishment does open in this district, then they would be named on an application that would go to the state, along with a letter from the police chief that's ready, just basically, stating how you would maintain public safety in the area. Then at that point, with that, then it would actually be created, and that's when it would go into effect. So basically, the first step in getting this done is the resolution tonight. Y'all are all familiar with the area. It is going to be a small area. Whitney Cook, our planning director, worked alongside me and Chris and Nick and Chief Moore in trying to make sure that we specify this, get it started slow. Then there could be changes made to it later as that area expands. But basically, this is the Snowden District. And inside the Snowden District, this specified area, which is noted on the map, is on May Boulevard, where the Silo Square development is already in place. So that's basically it. And I'll just open up the floor. It's my recommendation that we approve this resolution tonight.
Mr. Mayor, we adopt ordinance of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Southaven to establish a leisure and recreational district within the corporate boundaries of the City of Southaven, Mississippi, and designated geographic areas included within the boundaries of said district and for limited purposes used on this state.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Flores. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoops. Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Flores.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries. Somebody bring our other alderman. But, okay, next on the agenda is a contract amendment with Windstream. Mr. Nick Manley.
This is an amendment with Windstream that will allow for contract amendment to our service, where they're allow for existing phone service to open more lines. Also allow for expansion from the fire station number 5. Made a couple of amendments to the contract. Once we accepted those amendments, this will be approved tonight for Chris Shelton's signature. he's obviously not here, but it can be done electronically. But tonight is authorization for the contract amendment with Windstream as presented.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Davis. Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a resolution for a sole source purchase with our Parks Department. Nick, will you?
Yeah, this is sole source purchase for the cool fabrics that, well, that's the name of the company, not cool fabric, not cool fabrics, but anyway, the sole source purchase for that at the Southaven Road, replacing the awnings and the fabrics that provide shade there. The sole source letter has been provided for these items, and the amount is $80,000. My notes would be roughly $80,000, and allow for those to be replaced on a sole source basis in accordance with 31.713 and with the sole source letter.
Mr. Mayor, I move we adopt a resolution of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen of the City of Southaven authorizing single source item purchase in the Parks Department as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Brooks. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots. Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is our planning agenda. Ms. Whitney Cook.
Yes, we just have one item on the agenda tonight, and it is a subdivision application. It's going to be for Cherry Tree South Phase 5. It's going to be on the north side of Star Landing, west of Gatwell. Property encompasses 25.24 acres of property with 52 lots and 5 common open spaces. You'll see it highlighted in yellow over on the aerials. Basically, the master plan was approved in 2000 and amended in 2004. What they have proposed on this is compliant with that master plan, and with that in mind, staff recommending approval. Planning Commission voted unanimously in favor of it.
Mr. Mayor, I recommend that we approve item number 1, planning agenda tonight.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Brooks. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Davis. Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Okay, next on the agenda is our mayor's report. We got a couple of things that have occurred since the agenda was set Friday. Two of them had to do with financial information with the city. Chris, would you come forward and discuss these? Two things. We got bank depository bids, and then also our GASB audit, which is done. A few years ago, we made a decision that our retired employees, we would allow them to stay on the city health insurance. And in order to do that, you have to have a special audit of the liability that the city could have both now and in the future. So I'll let Chris explain that in more detail, but we will need board action on both of those things tonight.
So again, I apologize, this came in late yesterday. It's the same actuary firm that we used 2 years ago, as the mayor said. In order to offer retiree post-benefit employments, we have to account for those. The accounting is a liability in our books, and they do run actuary tables on what if every eligible employee stayed with the city until they were first eligible, and the impact, even though, as you know, the retirees pay 100% of the premium, still is a liability on us because we're carrying the insurance. So what we're asking tonight is the board authorize the mayor to sign the agreement with Lewis and Ellis Actuaries. Again, do a $9,000 agreement to do the audit portion of that for our 2020 audit and 2021 audit.
Second. We have a motion by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots. Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries.
And as you know, in accordance with state statutes, we have to, unfortunately this time, bid out our depository with the benefit of a very strong bid for the last 2 years of 2.6%. As you know, markets and rates have changed over the last 2 years. Two bids, one from Bank Plus and one from Bank Core South. The Bank Plus bid was the upper end of the Fed fund rate minus 20 basis points, which today would be 0.05. The Bank Core South bid was for Fed fund minus 50 basis points with a floor of 0.15. So again, we accounted for this in our budget. We knew these were going to be incidental interest rates. So as you know, state law changed, and we worked hard on getting that changed to where this can now be a 2 to a 4-year bid term. After meeting with Andrea and Pam and Edie and Tish, everyone's in agreement to maintain, the recommendation is to maintain our relationship with Bank Core as a depository for a 2-year period. The best data that we have available to us now is Fed fund being 0.25. If you do right now, the Bank Plus bid would be 0.05. The Bank Core bid would be a floor of 0.15. So the Bank Core bid only, Bank Core is higher now. Should the rates increase, however, Bank Plus would then become the higher bid. The best data we have now looks like, according to everyone with the FOMC and the Fed, is that they hope to maintain the 0 to 25 basis point interest rates through 2022. That could change tomorrow. But another part of the bid is also that Bank Core is offering to waive all fees. Bank Plus was offering to waive some of the fees. Looking at it, some of the fees they weren't waiving would be $50 a year a month, $40 a year a month on things, remote deposit, things that we're currently using. So any interest being so nominal would almost be wiped away with the incremental monthly rates in there. Not to mention the time and effort is to switch complete banking systems over is part of the bid consideration also. While the law allows us to go to 4 years, it's our recommendation to go to 2 in anticipation of rates possibly increasing in 2 years, and then we could still achieve higher interest rates when we bid it out again in 2 years. But it's a far cry from where we were. We anticipated it. It is what it is. So again, our recommendation is to maintain the Bank Core South for 2 years, for 2021 and 2022.
Second. Now we have a motion by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Burke. Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Davis. Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next topic we need to talk about is, as all of you know, we have part of our budget where we have requests that are made from charitable organizations. We do that with our budget before it goes into effect on October 1. We got a request from the House of Grace. We did not receive an application from them. We set the budget. Y'all may remember in 2019, we had a request from DeSoto County, to do a one-time contribution to help House of Grace get back on their feet. And then what we misunderstood is that it was not only a one-time thing, it would be a one-time thing plus an ongoing annual contribution to them. Since we didn't get another request from them, we did not include that in the 2021 budget. So they contacted us recently and indicated that they did have a letter, which I have a copy of in my hand, I just got it today, that was dated June 23rd, requesting $9,000. Now, we did not receive that, don't know what happened. Bottom line is House of Grace is requesting a donation from the city in the amount of $9,000. So we need to make a decision, what we want to do with that.
Is everybody else still contributing?
The county, they only indicate, they don't indicate all the cities. If you remember in 19, when we did this, we agreed to it based on a unanimous contribution from all the counties that are served by House of Grace. House of Grace does not just serve Southaven. It serves not only DeSoto County either, but several other counties in North Mississippi. And so it was presented to this board and me that there was unanimous participation with that one-time thing. This report indicates a budget line for the revenue, which is titled from other entities, but it doesn't specify which ones. They do have other support like they did in 19. And then the DeSoto County has committed $21,000 to them. So I guess with it being in our city, you know, and originating in Southaven, that's probably why we're, you know, one of the first and foremost ones that they would seek assistance from. But the county has participated with $21,000.
I have a question. Are they saying that we had agreed last year that whenever we did this one-time thing, that it was an agreement that we were gonna give 9,000 every year?
That's what I'm saying. The way, I mean, we could go back to my recollection. The way I understood it is that they were in an emergency situation.
That's the way I remember it. I mean, if they came, that they were in a severe, and look, I'm saying it's not that I'm against giving them the $9,000. I'm not. House of Grace is an incredible organization that does wonderful things for deserving people in our community. But I guess my concern is
It's not a one-time donation.
you know, it was sold to us last year that this was to get them on their feet, to get them back running again. You know, we were going to give them that one-time money, and that they were going to have other ways that because they had failed in, you know, they had admitted that they had failed in their other fundraising attempts to you know, become solvent by the meetings. So I guess, we'd even talked, wasn't there talks about, was it someone going to be over their accounting?
Well, now, they did do that. They did appoint someone with the county to oversee their financial affairs and to give the city updates. And that's come through Andrew, and we have received that. Were those all sent out by, I know I've seen them. But I'm saying, did those go out to the board, or did they just go to the? Okay. So they did do that. We have gotten updates about, you know, throughout this time about that. But we've not, until today, we didn't receive anything about requesting money for the FY21 budget. And so,
We took a 10% slash every request. So we start talking about confirming this already done. We can take 10% off the request. I find it extremely unfair if you did less than we didn't give them their package, and we'll discuss it.
I guess my question is did we vote on something a year ago? When we voted, did we do this for a long term?
One time.
That's what I thought.
That's the way Mark brought it.
Does that have to be decided?
no, it doesn't have to be decided tonight, but I mean, no.
No, try that.
Yeah.
I'd like some time to review.
I like voting for you.
Go back and look.
Yeah. Okay. Certainly. Yeah, that's why, I just got it, you know, after the agenda was set, so I just wanted to inform all of y'all. No, we don't have to do it tonight. If y'all are comfortable doing it tonight. But just under mayor's report, I wanted to make sure that I informed you that I did get it, and that is a request, and why you've not seen it before then, because we didn't get it until next. So we can, unless someone wants to make a motion. Okay. All right, so there's no motion to do anything at this point, and we will move on. And Chris, would you email what you sent me today? Would you send that out to the full board for us so they can all do it? Okay, next. I'm gonna wait and talk about this at the end. There's just a couple positive things I want to share with everyone. We've already got 2 soccer tournaments scheduled. And I didn't print that email. Wes sent it to me, but we have a significant, I know the first tournament already is scheduled to have 60 teams in it.
What day is that?
Wes, what are the dates? I meant to print that email.
The first one's Springfest weekend,
All right.
Okay. And the other one is before, after that.
May 7th through 9th.
Say 7 through 9. So we already have 2 tournaments. So this will be the first ever official city soccer tournament in the city. Springfest weekend. We're going to bust out that new Springfest barbecue area that we've been looking at, can't use. So we're going to do it all. We have a bang up weekend. So anyway, but it's a big moment for our city. I know she's told me she hated that we had to miss it this time. But anyway, so it'll be the first ever soccer tournament. It's 60 teams. That's very exciting news. We've got 2 of them already. The 2 beginning ones of many more 200. So that's a good report. Christmas events, Southern Lights, in our budget, we did commit to changing some of the features in Southern Lights. You know, the Southern Lights is a very old tradition for the city. A lot of the lights, or a lot of the displays had aged, and so it's time to freshen those up. So Wes and the park staff did put that request in the budget, so they did purchase those new displays, which are very appreciated, as shown by the attendance. In 2019, a year ago, the first Thanksgiving weekend, charities get the money. So charities raised $2,200. In 2020, it's $5,200.
I'll tell you that, it's like after the Olympics game, after the football, there were cars, and they were like backing up.
Yeah. So it's a good thing, you know, it's a good tradition. Our park staff, they work tremendously hard. You know, it's unfortunate that we do have to, with some of the displays, we have to stop vehicles from driving through there. There'd be no way for us to have it ready. I know that a lot of our citizens don't like that, but there's really no way around that, you know, to have a quality event like we have. But it is a good event. It is something, you know, that it does generate money for charities. It's a good thing. So I think that was money well spent, you know, on the new displays there. So everyone go check out Southern Lights. It's open until New Year's Eve. Is that right?
December 30th.
December 30th. It'll be open for December 30th. Okay. And then as far as other Christmas events, Whitney and Christy had a great idea about, this time of year I rely heavily on them. They're the creative minds. And so when we look at things, I always kind of lean on them. And we talk about Christmas decorations, things. Before we bring it to y'all, we try to save you some time and kind of go through, you know, what we view as good and bad. The bottom line, Christmas decorations are very commercial. Christmas decorations are unbelievably expensive. I mean, you wouldn't believe how expensive. So we were going to try to put, we saw this thing in a magazine. It was like an all red Christmas ribbon that would go around our renovated area there in the front. And it was like red glitter, beautiful. $18,000. And so, for a ribbon. So then we got this idea that, hey, we can make something like that. So I give credit to Whitney and Debbie, and I don't know who all, our utilities crews. I think Dan Cordell gave some input on it too. So we made a homemade ribbon like that with just doing the garland, the green garland, and putting the old bow was the bow that came off the huge wreath that used to be on the city. So we made our own. So we saved some money there. We did go, in addition to that, we bought some wreaths, just a green wreath with a red bow. And we decided that we would try to keep it simple, keep it traditional, keep it classy. You know, we've experimented with several different things. You know, we had the banners years ago. We got the snowflakes that are back up, but we've experimented with a lot of things, but we want to go back to just a simple, traditional, classy look. And so that's how we got the idea. They had the idea of the wreaths. I love it. So we got the wreaths up in parts of our city down Northwest Drive. We also put them around the new walking path. Wes and his crews put those up at Snowden. And we're going to try to expand on that. But then they had the idea too of bringing the Chamber of Commerce involved and encouraging everyone to just kind of follow that lead and be consistent. You know, and so Carmen and her team at the Chamber have joined in and done a great job marketing what we call Wreaths Around Southaven. And so that's just to encourage everyone to be simple, classy, traditional with a green wreath and a red bow. And so a lot of the businesses have joined us with that. So that's a nice thing. I really appreciate Whitney and Christy and the Chamber for helping us with that. Then the other thing, y'all know that due to COVID, it's no secret that we had to cancel the Christmas parade just to be extra safe. I want to commend Alderman Kelly for realizing that our people want to enjoy. We hate that we've had to make so many sacrifices this year with COVID, with traditions and this and that. So he felt like it was important that we be able to have some type of parade or Christmas display. And so he's taken that bull by the horns and done that on his own. So I thank you, Alderman, for that. And so what we have is we're going to have it's going to be a volunteer event, and Again, Alderman Kelly has led that. It's called, it's going to be a drive-through Christmas parade, or more like a display. So we're just reversing. So instead of the parade moving and the people standing all together, huddled up, watching, we're going to reverse that, right? We're going to have the floats stationary that people can drive through. That way they're not crowding each other, being safe from COVID. And so I thought that was a brilliant idea on his part, and so thank you for doing that. And that's December 12th, which is a good on that. And we're going to start it's going to be in the library parking lot. Is that correct? Okay. So I encourage everyone to get your kids in the car, get some hot chocolate and drive by and check it out. It's going to be a cool little first-year tradition. So thank you, Alderman, again for doing that. Okay, and then okay, the last thing is a follow-up. At our last meeting, there was some discussion about some of our older neighborhoods, crime. We discussed rental properties, things like that. I'm not going to rehash all that, other than to just say that the last meeting was not the beginning of our city having concerns about rental property. That's something I always like to use this meeting. I had lunch with Alderman Payne, first time I ever met him in 2013 when I was considering running for mayor, and I don't think I'd even made a decision yet. But met Alderman Payne, and one of the first things he asked me is, what did I think about the growing number of rental properties in the city? I don't know if you remember that. I do. At the Little Hammer place.
It was a concern.
Yeah. And so I did. I shared the same concern, because like I said in the last meeting, I've had experience with that, with insurance, with rental properties. I understand there's a major difference in owner and non-owner occupied property. And as time has gone by, it's proven to be an issue. Our police can tell you that when you do the statistics, that there is a large amount of crime in some apartment complexes, and also single-family rental dwellings. And so this discussion, I know Alderman Hoots is on the line. Alderman Hoots, are you with us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So this discussion didn't start at the last meeting. It's been an ongoing thing. We've had numerous meetings in the past trying to find a way to look at what we do about rental properties, and it's an ongoing thing. So the report I want to give you tonight is we're going to keep studying this. There are some hang-ups with federal housing laws that restrict what a city can do with a rental property ordinance, and also we have to be careful that we that we have one that makes sense and that is one that we can manage and enforce. So the report tonight from me to you is that I do want to revisit that with the committee. I'm going to set up a committee in the near future. Chris has been helping me, Chief Moore, Whitney. We've got a team together that's helping do some research on our rental properties and crime statistics going with it. And I've also done some reading. Chris has done a lot of research. I've read some other ideas, not locally, but things that mirror what I've said, that no doubt there's a difference in owner and non-owner as far as, from a property value and a crime standpoint. So we're going to continue researching that. I got a package I want to put together, and then I'd like to call a committee meeting to further research. The other piece that I want to report back, and that's why I asked about Alderman who's been on the line, there were some questions that some citizens asked in the Colonial Hills neighborhood. They suggested, is there any way to prevent someone from selling their home to an investor? And the bottom line is there's not. I mean, you can't tell someone who they can sell their home to, and I wouldn't be in favor of that either. But they had concerns about it. So Whitney did some research, and that's our report tonight, is there is a thing called a community development corporation that can be created, and one of the most local examples of one that has worked successfully is the Cooper Young area in Memphis. And a lot of times people will say that, well, they did it in Cooper Young, why can't y'all do it in Southaven? And so I'm about to tell you how that works in just a brief overview. The bottom line is, if a neighborhood wanted to, city can't restrict, we can't tell someone who to sell their home to. We go into that discussion, that can't happen. But what can happen is if private landowners, property owners, created a corporation, then they can garner financial support from neighbors, other businesses in the area, and then they can set up, just like a company, they set up a corporation, have their own board of directors, and then they can promote things throughout, beautification projects throughout. They can do their own things, kind of like an HOA. You know, they can go in, things that the city can't do, they can go in and say, hey, look, you know, you can't do that in this subdivision anymore, whatever. But the other thing is, if they really are serious about it, this corporation can also raise money. And so when you raise money, then the next house that is going up for sale, if you don't want a rental property investor in California to buy it, then you step up and you buy it. And then when you buy the home, you can do what you want to with it. So then there is a way for them to actually control if it's owner occupied or tenant. So that's kind of what happened in Cooper Young. Am I saying that fairly accurate? And again, I didn't read all the details, but that is a very lengthy thing. But that's the guts of the issue. Is there is a way to do it.
Right.
And you create a company, and your company actually buys the house, and then you can do what you want to with the house. So you can restrict the number of rental properties that are in a certain area. So but anyway, that's more discussion for one night. I just wanted to give Alderman Hoots a report back to the Colonial Hills citizens that he invited to the meeting last time, and so we can move on from there and keep discussing that in further detail. I'll also report back to all of you when it's time to have the committee meeting. We'll set that up and go on from there. Okay, and I think that's all I have tonight. Any questions for me? Okay. Next on our agenda is our citizens agenda. We do not have anyone that registered to speak, but is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on the citizens agenda? Anyone want to speak tonight on the citizens agenda? Okay. Looks like no one, and just another update regarding that. I always love to hear from the citizens that I work for. I love when people tell me what's bothering them. I would much rather anybody say, Mayor, I'm chapped about this. I don't like that you advocated for this or that, or this bothers me that the board did this or that. I love that because the alternative to that is someone that doesn't tell you what's on their mind and goes home and they're bitter about it. And so I love for people to tell me what they think about what's going on in the city, what they want me to do, what they'd like to see us do as a city. And so for that reason, I always love it when we give people the opportunity to speak at our board meetings under the citizens agenda. With that being said, and Nick, I've asked him 100 times this, and a city board meeting is not a public hearing. And I think what kind of got the city off on a different path is the controversy that we had in 2011 and 12. I wasn't here, never came to one of those meetings, but I understand that it became like hey, let's all charge the mayor and tell him how unhappy we are with him, that kind of thing. And I just want to I just think as a city, it's time for us to back up a little bit and get this in the right perspective. That's not what a citizens agenda is for, and what a meeting is for. This meeting is for the city to conduct city business. We love for people to come listen. We want our citizens to be informed. We videotape the meetings purposely so anybody can come back at any time and go back and watch the meeting if they want to know what's being said and what's being done. But we've kind of gotten off track a little bit with our citizens agenda, and so it's my recommendation that we make a few changes. And I've asked for a lot of input from all of you. I've asked for input from others that work for the city. And I think we need to kind of go back, shift gears a little bit, and do one of two things. The first thing is, I think it worked well, when we required people to register on Friday, because bottom line is if someone wants action, there are many times somebody will send me a social media message or an email, and it's simple stuff. I mean, it's like, yeah, we can do that right now, and before noon it's done. And so I think with most things, it's like that. If you want service in the city, you contact the city. If you'll let us know, we aim to please. We want to put a smile on people's face. And so I don't know that, coming to a public board meeting, it just appears to me that 9 out of 10 people that come here, they're not really coming to solve a problem. They have another agenda planned.
A lot of times, and not to interrupt you real quick, we're all, not just the first and third Tuesday every month.
Right.
So, we're available by email, phone call. So if our citizens have any issues, they don't have to come to the board meeting and necessarily just vent those. I get it if they're not getting the answers they want, and by all means, we understand that. reach out to us, reach out to you, reach out to the mayor's office. Like I said, we can probably get whatever issues fixed. This is not the time to have a public hearing on every single issue.
Yeah.
And especially when we're talking about ongoing criminal investigations. That is dangerous and it is improper, and we should never discuss those things in open forum.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that, and I apologize, I failed last meeting. I guess it kind of caught me off guard. To be very honest, I was astounded that our police chief was called up in a public meeting to discuss crime. And that's my fault. I should have shut that down. I'll promise to do better. I won't let that happen again. But back to the issues, you know, it's not a time for people to come express their political opinions. The time to do that is election season. These meetings are for city business. It's not to come grandstand politically, or if you don't agree with something the board did 6 months ago, keep ongoing talking about it. It's not efficient use of our time. It's not fair to our employees that are here. It's not fair to other citizens.
It's not respectful of the city.
It's not respectful of the city. And so that's why my recommendation is one of two things. We don't have to decide again tonight, but I want y'all to help me just make a good decision with this. My recommendation is either we leave it like it is with the citizens' agenda after the mayor's report. We require that you do register in advance on Friday when we set the agenda. Or the other thing is we don't list it unless there's a request. So like anybody can be on the agenda. If a citizen wants to be on the agenda, we're still welcoming that. It's just they have to get on the agenda. Like if you want to be on the agenda, it doesn't say citizens agenda. It says Mr. Payne sanitation concern, or Miss Johnson potholes. And so whoever wants to get on, they can get on. We just list them what they're talking about and what they want to talk about, who they are. That way, a lot of times, like I said, 9 out of 10 things, that's simple stuff. We can fix that. They call Christy, want to get on the agenda. Christy I can have that problem solved in 30 minutes a lot of times. So that's one suggestion. Then the other thing is we could go back and still leave it open, but we just have to hold them to 3 minutes. And that's the thing, is I hate to cut anybody off, but we can't spend 2 hours every night not knowing who's going to show up, what they're going to talk about, that they're going to ask us to go back and recant things that were talked about for 6 months in 3 different public meetings. That's not fair to the city. So anyway, those are just 2 recommendations. If y'all will think about that, and then let's make a decision on that, at the next meeting on how we want to move forward. Again, it's not stopping anybody from talking. It's just giving us a more defined agenda on how much time it's going to take, and we can solve problems in advance in a lot of cases. Any comments about that? Okay. All right, we'll move on. That's all I had. Next on the agenda is personnel document.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve personnel documents presented on the city.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoops. Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is our city attorney's legal update. Nothing? Okay. Next is our utility bill adjustment document.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the utility bill legal adjustment docket as presented on the city.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoops.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda are 2 claims dockets. As our motion to approve docket 1.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve claims docket number 1 in the amount of $4,293,27.45, including the bank checks.
We have a motion on docket 1 by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Flores. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoops. Yes. Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
That motion carries. Is there a motion to approve docket 2?
Mr. Mayor, move we approve docket number 2 in the amount of $13,158.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Brooks. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots. Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
That motion carries. Okay, next on the agenda is the purpose of determining the need for executive session. We got a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Wheeler. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. The need for executive session this evening is for claims and litigation against the Parks Department, the Public Works Department, and economic development within the city. Is there a motion to declare executive session?
Second.
We got a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Payne. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. The mayor and board are now under executive session.